A self-styled goddess of wealth, or the mastermind of a global fraud? Thousands of investors chasing dreams, one syndicate cashing in. A London mansion full of secrets, hiding a £5 billion crypto hoard. The world's biggest seizure of 61,000 bitcoins and the international hunt that followed. Every day, ordinary people dream of striking it rich through the next big investment. In China, between 2014 and 2017, 128,000 hopeful investors were lured by a financial fantasy. They were promised nearly 300% returns on their money by a company that seemed too good to be true. It was. Some followers even nicknamed her the Goddess of Wealth. But behind the enticing facade, she was engineering one of the largest frauds in history. This is the story of Jimin Qian, the Chinese businesswoman who stole billions, stashed it in Bitcoin, and fled overseas, and how a 7-year chase across continents brought her scheme crashing down. The rise of a goddess of wealth. 300% profit in months, safe and guaranteed. It was the kind of pitch that spread like wildfire among people eager for a better life. Through stained glass windows. Jimin Qian, also known as Yadi Zhang, presented herself as a financial prodigy, and through Tianjin Lantian Gurui Electronic Technology Co. Limited, sold ordinary people on an extravagant dream. From 2014 to 2017, her firm offered investment products with unbelievable returns, convincing tens of thousands to hand over savings. Few knew anything about Qian. She cultivated mystery, even earning the moniker Goddess of Wealth. In reality, it was a classic Ponzi-style scam. Early investors sometimes received payouts, which drew in more victims. But the money came from fresh deposits, not actual profits. Chen ran the operation with ruthless efficiency, pulling in an estimated $6.7 billion before the scheme unraveled. As authorities tightened scrutiny on cryptocurrency and high-yield schemes in 2017, the mirage collapsed. Facing exposure, Chen prepared an escape and planned to move her fortune in a form that travels well: Bitcoin. Flight and laundering. Why the UK? A fake passport, a fortune in Bitcoin, and a one-way ticket. As her empire crumbled in 2017, Chen fled China under a false identity, reportedly using a St. Kitts and Nevis passport. She landed in Britain in September 2018 and settled in a 6-bedroom Hampstead mansion. She partnered with Jian Wen, a longtime UK resident who had worked at a takeaway. With Chen's arrival, Wen's life transformed. A Mercedes, private schooling for her son, and a new role helping push millions into British real estate. Their laundering strategy was simple: convert stolen crypto into tangible UK assets, especially property, to obscure its origin. In late 2018, they pursued upscale purchases, aiming to embed criminal wealth in London's housing market. The UK also offered a perceived layer of safety. With no formal extradition treaty with China and frequent human rights objections to extraditions, Chen may have calculated she could hide in plain sight, reinventing herself as a wealthy investor while victims in China were left with losses. But the very asset that made flight possible, her massive Bitcoin trove, also drew attention. Suspicious crypto movements would soon place Qian squarely in the crosshairs of British investigators. The record-breaking bust in London, a quiet London mansion hiding the world's largest crypto hoard. In October 2018, acting on intelligence about suspicious transfers, Metropolitan Police raided the Hampstead property. What they found was astonishing. Laptops and hardware wallets holding the keys to 61,000 bitcoins, worth about £5.1 billion at today's prices. It was, police said, the largest cryptocurrency seizure in the world at the time, eclipsing prior law enforcement hauls. Media quickly dubbed the property the Bitcoin Mansion, yet the mastermind slipped away. Qian fled as police moved in, leaving her crypto fortune in evidence but eluding capture. Investigators seized the wallets. The owner disappeared. Wen, however, was caught. Devices in her possession contained wallets valued at more than £2 billion. She claimed ignorance, saying Qian told her the money came from a legitimate jewelry business. A jury did not accept that story. The sheer scale of the seizure presented novel challenges. Cryptocurrencies can be moved in seconds if someone holds backup keys, and encrypted drives are useless without passwords. Securing, accessing, and ultimately disposing of such an immense digital asset cache was uncharted territory for British authorities. The case instantly became one of the highest-value cybercrime investigations globally, demanding patience, specialized expertise, and international cooperation. Chasing a ghost, the 7-year manhunt. 5 years on the run, a fugitive with a fortune. After the raid, Qian vanished. For years, she evaded authorities while accomplices faced prosecution. Detective Sergeant Isabella Grotto and a Metropolitan Police team led a painstaking probe, gathering evidence across borders and sifting thousands of documents to stitch together Qian's movements in the path of the money. In China, investigators documented the fraud as 128,000 victims came forward. UK authorities then had to link that crime base to the 61,000 bitcoins seized in London. Crypto tracing, forensic accounting, and legal coordination became the core of the effort. Agencies in China provided data, while British police tracked leads and safeguarded the seized cash. With the main trove frozen, Qian's lifestyle contracted. She reportedly moved between UK addresses, using aliases and new documents to stay hidden. The break came in 2023 when fresh intelligence led police to York. Officers arrested Qian, ending a years-long manhunt. At first, she denied wrongdoing. She disputed the fraud allegations in China and suggested the case was politically motivated after Beijing's 2017 crypto crackdown. But the accumulated evidence, from transaction trails to the seized wallets, proved overwhelming. In September 2025, on the eve of trial at Southwark Crown Court, the 47-year-old pleaded guilty to money laundering, acquiring and possessing criminal property between 2017 and 2024. Investigators hailed the plea as the culmination of a 7-year effort. The Met's cybercrime unit called it one of the largest money laundering cases in UK history and among the highest value crypto cases worldwide, expressing hope that the outcome would bring some measure of justice to victims. Hidden wallets and accomplices in the shadows. A secret hardware wallet in her waistband because $6.7 billion wasn't enough? Even after her conviction, Qian had one more surprise up her sleeve, or rather in her trousers. While she was in custody awaiting sentencing, officials made a startling discovery: a digital storage device concealing an extra £67 million in cryptocurrency. The device had been hidden in a concealed pocket of Qian's jogging bottoms, an unlikely hiding spot for a fortune. Confronted with this evidence, Qian relented and provided police with the access codes and passwords to unlock the trove. This dramatic revelation, crypto worth tens of millions literally stashed in her clothing, underscores the lengths to which she tried to hold on to any remaining assets. It's a Hollywood-worthy detail. The billionaire fraudster who, even in prison garb, was secretly sitting on a mini-fortune. Qian's case also shone light on a small syndicate of helpers who greased the wheels of her operation. We've already met Jian Wen, the ex-takeaway worker turned money launderer, who was convicted in 2024 and sentenced to 6 years, 8 months in prison for her role. Wen's cooperation with authorities appears limited. She long claimed ignorance. But the court ordered her to repay £3 million in illicit gains or face additional jail time. Another key figure was Hock Seng Ling, described as Qian's fixer, who dealt with the technical side of the cryptocurrency transfers. Hock Seng Ling was also convicted for aiding the scheme, presumably for handling the Bitcoin transactions that helped obfuscate Qian's trail. These accomplices illustrate that Qian did not operate entirely alone. She relied on a network of associates to move money and cover her tracks. Some were motivated by trust or naivete, like those who believed her talk of a legitimate business. Others perhaps by a slice of the riches. In the end, however, anyone within Qian's circle found themselves in legal peril once the fraud came to light. Victims in the battle for billions. 128,000 victims. Life savings stolen. Will they ever get repaid? As Qian awaits final sentencing, attention has shifted to restitution. The seized 61,000 BTC represents hope, but returning funds is complex. Most victims are everyday people in China, retirees, workers, families, who entrusted savings to Qian's promises. Some have received partial compensation through local programs, but a vast sum remains frozen in the UK. This raises a sensitive issue. Who controls the Bitcoin and how should it be distributed? A transnational tug-of-war has emerged. UK authorities must follow domestic forfeiture laws while acknowledging international obligations. Victims and Chinese authorities argue that the crypto is stolen property that must be returned to those defrauded, not treated as a windfall for the state. British lawyers representing thousands of victims have pressed for compensation based on the coin's current value, not original contributions. The difference is enormous because Bitcoin's price has soared since 2017. Paying at today's prices could make some victims more than whole in fiat terms. Their position is straightforward. The BTC never belonged to the UK state and should be returned to those from whom it was taken. Prosecutors indicate a compensation scheme will be created, funded by the seized assets. The Crown Prosecution Service must complete legal forfeiture steps under the Proceeds of Crime Act and coordinate with Chinese counterparts on repatriation. Both the legal and logistical questions are complex. Verifying claims, preventing double recovery, addressing exchange rate and price volatility issues, and ensuring a fair distribution mechanism across an immense victim pool. Meanwhile, time weighs heavily. Many victims have waited nearly a decade. The case is likely to set precedent for cross-border crypto frauds, how to value assets, which jurisdiction leads distribution, and how to balance deterrence with victim recovery. Qian's rise and fall traces the arc of modern financial deception, glossy promises, viral hype, and a borderless instrument that enabled both escape and capture. The UK raid exposed a record crypto hoard and forced law enforcement to master new terrain. Years later, a guilty plea closed one chapter. The next, returning billions to those who lost everything, will determine whether justice in the age of digital money can be not only punitive, but reparative.